And we are live. What's going on, people? How you guys doing? We'll wait for a few people to get in, and we'll talk some boxing, man. No real topic as usual, especially with what's going on right now. But any boxing related questions, fire away. We can talk some boxing, man. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Okay. There we go. Okie dokie. 1 second. Big up Jim McDonald in the chat. Straight out of the Rovers' return. Big up Nick Campbell. Fantasy fight, David Haye versus Murat Gassiev at cruiserweight. Interesting fight. Gassiev, big lump, puncher, solid technical fundamentals. But David Haye, to me, is a bit too dynamic. Very quick footwork, quick hands, explosive, in and out. I think he might be a bit too dynamic for Murat Gassiev and a bit too quick. But interesting fight. Gassiev does have a chin, but can he take a prime David Haye's power at cruiserweight? Be interesting. It's a good fight, actually. That's a really good fight. Really good fight. Tough one to call, actually, but I think I would go with David Haye. Bit too quick. Big up Matt Heisman in the chat. Hi Dale, how are you holding up with this whole coronavirus stuff? Just keeping on, really, trying to be active, trying to stay fit. I've actually exercised most days for the last 2 weeks, so hopefully we keep up with that, keep ourselves in good shape. And try and level up, I can't really let this get me down. I'll try and be a bit productive. Right now I'm working from home, so, that's okay. But it's hard to stay motivated, man. I can't lie. It's hard to stay motivated. Big up 47 in the chat. Jim McDonald, we got a drink tonight in hand? No, sir. We're on coffee tonight, mate. We're on coffee. Ben Haynes, what happened to Thunderdome? The guy hasn't posted all this year. I'm not sure. He kind of drifts in and out, to be honest, Thunderdome. I like his stuff, though. I loved his live streams. He knew his stuff. Yo, Bugsy Icon with the super chat. Thank you very much. Big up to Bugsy Icon. Yo, Apology Man in the building. Big up to Apology Man. One of my favorites on BDA. I'm trying to get like Apology right now, I'm exercising during this quarantine, so we'll get there, man. We'll get there. I've slacked off today, though, I can't lie. And yesterday and today I've slacked off. But, the last 2 weeks I've pretty much exercised every day apart from this weekend. So I'm doing okay. John Cable, big up to John Cable in the chat. New subscriber, big up to John. Jim McDonald, my mama told me when I was young, we are all superstars, so we are. Yes, sir. 100%. 100%. Swig that cup of coffee. Beautiful stuff, man. Beautiful stuff. But yeah, man, there's not too much boxing to talk about, so we'll have to make our own topics up, I guess. That's what we'll have to do. Joe Calzaghe and Carl Froch, those guys are going at it in the media. Funnily enough, actually, I made a fantasy fight video about that fight a few days ago. My voice is cracked. Yeah, I made a fantasy fight about that fight. I'll start again for a third time. I made a fantasy fight video about that fight a few days ago, Carl Froch and Joe Calzaghe. I've always felt Joe Calzaghe would have been far too active for Carl Froch, too quick of hand and foot. I would take Joe Calzaghe to beat Carl Froch by a clear, unanimous decision. Froch would be, he'd be trouble in certain rounds, don't get me wrong. He'll be competitive in certain rounds. But Joe Calzaghe, man, he's a couple of levels above Carl Froch. Let's be honest about it. Far too quick, in my opinion. Far too quick. Good fight, though, but Joe Calzaghe for me all day long. John Cable, new sub, came from Red Glove Militants live yesterday. Oh, shout out to Red Glove Militant, man. Yeah, I'm in the process of doing channel shout-outs. So I've already done one video recommending channels. I've got another video coming in the next couple of days recommending more channels. And funnily enough, Red Glove Militant is one of the guys I'm going to shout out. So big up to Red Glove, man. Big up. Coin Blatter, did you watch Israel Vasquez versus Rafael Marquez rivalry? And what are your thoughts on it? Man, that rivalry between Rafael Marquez and Israel Vasquez is one of the most underrated rivalries in boxing. Let's be honest, there was 4 fights, but the last fight was basically, that was worthless, you know. But the first 3 fights were amazing. And to put it in perspective, those 4 fights cost Israel Vasquez his eye. That's how brutal those fights were. If anybody's not seen those fights, watch the first 3. Israel Vasquez versus Rafael Marquez. Excellent fights. Really great fights. Awesome. Awesome fights. Nobody really mentions them, though, unfortunately, but they're great fights. Hey, Dale, hope you're good. What do you know about Nesta Gibbs? Hang on. Want to know what you think about Nesta Gibbs' thoughts on Anthony Joshua and Fury making more money and fans fighting in the US rather than the UK? What do you mean? Do you mean Joshua and Fury happening in the US rather than the UK? I mean, I'm sure that fight makes more money here, to be honest with you. You know, the pay-per-view numbers for Joshua Fury in the UK would be astronomical. They really would. That'd be crazy numbers. Crazy numbers, man. So, yeah, I think that fight would happen in the UK. But you never know. You never know. The thing about America is, you know, like the big casinos like the MGM Grand and places like that, they basically put out huge site fees to get fights. And they put some big money up. So, who knows? Maybe it could happen in America. Maybe it could happen in Saudi Arabia. I think that's more likely, to be honest. I really do. Yes, Corrales versus Castillo won. Coin Blatter, 100%. That was a great fight. A lot of people say that stoppage was premature, though. When Castillo got stopped in that fight, a lot of people say that was premature. I'm not entirely sure about that personally, but you know, very good fight. Corrales looked out on his shield at one point. He was basically going to get knocked out, then he came back and knocked out Castillo. So that's a great fight, man. Yo, big up Mark37. He says, big up Dale. Yeah, I train 2 hours a day, 5 times a week. Not bad for an old fucker. That is good, mate. That is good. A lot of the days I'm not doing 2 hours, so that's very good, man. Bugsy Icon, Roy Jones versus Andre Ward at 175. You've got to go with Roy Jones Jr. You really do. Historically, I can't think of many fighters who beats Roy Jones at 175. I'm struggling, to be honest. I really am. Roy Jones at 175, man, that guy was a phenom. He really was. He had it all, man. Hand speed, punching power, crazy athleticism, hard style to fight. Roy Jones Jr. had it all, man. He really did. But once his athleticism started to go, you know, that's when he got found out, because fundamentally Roy Jones did a lot wrong. But in his prime, he was so athletic that he could get away with it, and he made it work for himself. But yeah, I would take Roy Jones to beat Andre Ward. Would he stop Andre Ward? I think Andre could be a bit, you know, he could make the distance. I think Andre Ward would see the distance, but Roy Jones wins comfortably on points. That's what I would say in that fight. Fantasy fight, Riddick Bowe versus Dillian Whyte. Yo, Riddick Bowe, man, on the inside was a monster for a big man. He really was. Riddick Bowe had unreal talent, but he never had the work ethic to go with it. You know, that was his Achilles heel, was food, basically. He couldn't diet. He couldn't stay disciplined. He never drank. He never smoked. He never did drugs. It was food with Riddick Bowe. But he was a tremendously talented fighter. He really was. And I've got to say, man, I would take Riddick Bowe in his prime to bash up Dillian Whyte, to be honest. I really would. John Cable, I would have picked Calzaghe years ago, but I think Calzaghe's been inactive longer than Froch. So it depends on if Calzaghe has been keeping in shape or not. Yeah, if we're talking right now, Carl Froch wins because he's in much better shape. He's younger. And, you know, he retired a lot. Well, he retired in 2014. Joe Calzaghe retired in, 2009, 2008? So Calzaghe's been retired more than 10 years. So, yeah, if they fought tomorrow, Carl Froch would win. But prime for prime, Calzaghe wins comfortably, in my opinion. I really believe that. Yeah, Coinblatter. A lot of people said in that Castillo Corrales fight that Castillo was stopped prematurely. I can see their argument, to be honest. I can. I really can. Oh, John Caber, you're Welsh. Yeah, big up Wales, man. You guys produce some great fighters. Calzaghe, I would take though. Calzaghe would have way too much. Fat Apples, he thinks Andre Ward's style beats Roy Jones Jr. Interesting. Interesting. I just think Roy is far too athletic for Andre, man. He really is. I think that sort of style's hard to negate with a style like Andre Ward's. I think if you're going to beat a prime Roy Jones, you've got to catch him coming in. You need to counter him coming in and knock him out, basically. You know, I think that's how you beat a prime Roy Jones. I think it's very hard to outpoint that guy. 4-7, Del, are you picking Avanesian to beat Josh Kelly? I'm favouring Avanesian, to be honest. He's fought at a higher level. You know, he's coming off some really good form against Leharaga. And I've not really been impressed with Josh Kelly's last few fights. So momentum favours Avanesian. And stylistically, how does Josh Kelly deal with a really good pressure fighter? I'm not so sure. Josh Kelly looks really flashy. He does. But I don't think he's got that power to keep a lot of these guys honest. And that's the thing about Josh Kelly. I think his style needs power. You know, I mean, Roy Jones, we just spoke about him. Perfect example. Roy Jones had that sort of weird style, athletic style, but he had power to go with it. I don't think Josh Kelly does, to be honest. I really don't. Sergio Martinez, another guy with that athletic style, hands down, reaction-based style. But Sergio had power. Prince Nassim Hamed, same sort of style. He had power. I think with that style, you need power. It's that simple. It's that simple. That's how I see it, though. Most underrated cruiserweight. That's a very good question. Fat Apples. Maybe the Cuban guy, Juan Carlos Gomez. That's a good shout, I would say. Jean-Marc Mormec was pretty solid as well. He was a good cruiserweight. O'Neal Bell was up there. I don't think Denis Lebedev gets enough praise, in all honesty. There's been some underrated cruiserweights over the years. There really has. Big up to Fat Apples, man. Big up to Fat Apples. Big up to Toby Bartlett as well in the chat. Matt genuinely thinks Charles Martin deserves a bit of credit for coming back from that crack cocaine addiction he had a few years ago. Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I thought that guy was done after the Joshua fight, but here he is. You know, he's highly rated in the IBF or WBA, whatever it is. So Charles Martin's on the verge of a big fight. Maybe Charles Martin could fight someone like Andy Ruiz. That's a payday. He's got himself back in contention. He really has. He really has. Kelly needs to snap and cut out of the flashy shit. Yeah, I agree, Mark. I agree. In the amateurs, Josh Kelly never really had that style. He was a much more conventional fighter in the amateurs. I think that's the Adam Booth type of style that's been implemented there with Josh Kelly. Don't get me wrong, Josh Kelly was flashy in the amateurs, but not to the extent he is now. So I think, yeah, I agree. He needs to go back to those fundamentals, in my opinion. Azuma Nelson versus Alexis Arguello fantasy fight at 126. Damn, that's a good fight, Boxing Virus. That's a good fight. Azuma Nelson versus Alexis Arguello. I really like both guys, I've got to say. Both guys were warriors, man, in some great fights. Really good fights. I think I might favour Azuma Nelson, to be honest. Like a split decision or something like that. But that's a hard fight to call. That really is a hard fight to call. Coinblatter, Sergio Martinez had some great fights. Listen, man, back in the day, when Sergio was in his prime, was like, what, 2008, 2009, 2010, that sort of area. Back then, I was a teenager. I was like 14, 15. I was the biggest Sergio Martinez fanboy. I don't mind admitting. He was my favourite active fighter at that time. It was Sergio Martinez and David Haye. Those were my sort of childhood favourite fighters. You know, they were my favourite fighters. Loved their styles. Loved their styles. It hurt when Sergio lost to Cotto, I can't lie. That hurt, seeing him go out like that. But Sergio had a great style, man. He really did. Yo, official scorecard boxing science. By the way, chat, check out official scorecard boxing science. He's got a great channel. Cool guy. One of the best people I've met on YouTube in regards. He's just a cool guy, man. Really good guy. Timmy Nealon in the building as well. Big up to Timmy Nealon. Been supporting for a while. Big up to you. Lovely cup of coffee. Christian Hammer versus Otto Wallin. Hammer's only lost to Povetkin and was even closer to Ortiz, yet Wallin is a prospect who looked decent versus Fury. I would take Otto Wallin on points in that fight, in all honesty. I would take Otto Wallin on points. It'll be interesting to see where Wallin goes, to be honest, after that Fury fight. Really made a good account of himself, but can he really capitalise on that and make himself a real contender? We'll see. I liked his comeback fight against Lucas Brown. Lucas Brown is shot to bits, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a good name to come back to after a loss and a layoff. But we'll see what he does. Yo, Jackal Davis, man, thank you for the super chat. I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing okay. Easter weekend, 4-day weekend. I can't complain, man. I can't complain. Just a little bit down with a lack of boxing, to be honest. A little bit down with a lack of boxing. But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Staying positive, I guess. Boxing Virus. This is a good fight. Michael Spinks versus Sergey Kovalev in their prime at 175. To me, Sergey Kovalev is a guy who never really made the most of his ability and potential. You know, not really living the life, things like that. I've got to take Michael Spinks to win that fight. Michael Spinks was a 6'2" light heavyweight. Great boxer, very crafty, very awkward. I think I would take Michael Spinks on points, to be honest, against Kovalev. But a good fight. That's a good boxing match, that is. That's a good boxing match. Matt Heisman. Heard some recent interviews with Dave Allen. He sounds fucking horrific. Needs to pack it in ASAP. Yeah, man. Dave Allen, he doesn't sound too good these days, I've got to say. He really doesn't. You know? But again, he's a guy who doesn't take it seriously, man. Doesn't take it seriously. Doesn't take the craft seriously. Doesn't live the life. To me, it's all about the social media buzz that he gets. That's what he lives off. That's what he thrives off, you know? But I don't think he really wants to be a fighter. But what else can he do, I guess? What else can he do? It'd be okay if they matched Dave Allen with his level of competition, you know? But they don't do that. They throw him in there with killers, basically. That's what they do. Yo, big up to Jackal Davis, man. Big up. Coin Blatter. He picked Cotto in the Sergio Martinez fight. I had a feeling he'd struggle with Cotto's speed and jab. I wasn't expecting Martinez's body to fall apart like that, though. Yeah, man. That was hard to see as a Sergio Martinez fan. It really was. That was hard to see. Like I say, I was a big Sergio fan back in the day. Just a beautiful style, like Apology said. Just a great style to watch, man. Athletic, hands down, reaction-based style. He had power, creative offense, made for some really good fights. I wish he came around a little bit later so he could have been in the Golovkin era, you know? But Sergio he had a great career, all things considered. I mean, that guy started boxing at what, 20 years old, 21 years old? And to have a career like he had was quite impressive, in all honesty. So anybody in the chat who's like late teens, early 20s, start boxing, man. It's never too late. It's never too late. Never too late. It's worth a go, man. It's worth a go. Big up Jim McDonald. If Dubois beats Joyce, I wouldn't moan if he fought Hammer next, to be honest. I wouldn't either. Christian Hammer, been in world title eliminators, durable. That's a decent name, to be honest. Decent fight. Do you think there's an argument to rank Parker above Wilder, considering Parker has the best win and fought better opposition, and he's had the same amount of belts but has done more in his short time? I guess you can, Fat Apples. I wouldn't call someone crazy. I personally wouldn't, to be honest. But I wouldn't call you crazy if you did, to be honest. I really wouldn't. I currently rank Dillian White above Deontay Wilder. That's what I will tell you. Deontay Wilder is my 4th ranked heavyweight right now. Yeah, big up to official scorecard boxing science. John Cable, you won't be disappointed. Really knows his stuff. Really knows his stuff. Just one of these dudes who's enthusiastic about boxing. That's what I appreciate. There's a lot of drama on YouTube when it comes to boxing, but Official, he's a boxing dude. That's what he is, man. He's a boxing dude. Jackal Davis, why Beterbiev, man? It's all about Dmitry Bivol. Listen, man, I was on the Dmitry Bivol train basically since he turned pro. I'm a big believer in Bivol. I think he's got a lovely style to watch, great footwork, timing, excellent judge of distance. I love Dmitry Bivol, but I think Beterbiev, I think the pressure will break him, in all honesty. I really do. I could see a scenario where Bivol wins the first few rounds, keeping Beterbiev at arm's length, but doing that for 12 rounds against Beterbiev is a hard task. Beterbiev is he's a very good pressure fighter. He cuts the ring off extremely well. First and foremost, he's got deceptively quick feet. He really does. And he uses a technique called shifting, which is great to cut the distance. Guys like Roberto Duran did shifting. Type in on YouTube Roberto Duran shifting, you'll see what I mean. Beterbiev does a similar thing. So I would say Beterbiev beats Bivol, to be honest. But I wouldn't be shocked if Bivol pulled it off. It's a great fight. We need to see that fight, man. Yo, you guys are coming in strong today, man. 35 viewers, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you could smash the like as well, be much appreciated. Be much appreciated. Yo, Max Kuckerman in the chat. What's going on, man? Vitaly Klitschko is underrated. I've been watching his title defenses. He was dominant. Yeah, Vitaly was a very dominant champion. The problem Vitaly had, he never had the competition. Vladimir Klitschko actually fought for better competition. I think Vladimir Klitschko's resume, is actually kind of underrated, I would say. I think his resume is pretty good. Vitaly's not got a strong resume. That's the negative with Vitaly. But Vitaly's style was so unique, man. Big, tall guy, but he kind of fought with a hands-down approach almost, pouring with a jab, leaning back. Very athletic style, deceptively athletic, Vitaly Klitschko. Interesting style of fighting. That's what Filip Hrgović reminds me of, sorry. He reminds me of Klitschko in a way. Vitaly Klitschko, how he fights. He leans back kind of thing. Not as good as Vitaly, obviously, but he's got a similar style, Filip Hrgović. Big up B-Space. Big up B-Space, man. 4-7. Yeah, Dave Allen got $7,000 to fight Luis Ortiz. Yeah, exactly. $7,000. What can he do with $7,000 these days? Not much. Not much. El Jefe Boxing Talk in the chat. Salute, Blue. Big up to you, sir. Big up to El Jefe. We had a friendly debate the other day, but he's cool, man. He's cool. I know what he's trying to do, but he's cool. Fat Apples, would be interested to know how you scored the May-Pac fight, if you did anyway. According to Artorias, Pacquiao got robbed. To be honest with you, Fat Apples, I've seen it once. I saw it on the night when it happened. I never scored it, but I felt Floyd won. That's what I felt. I felt Floyd won. I've never cared enough to go back and watch it. Maybe I will in the next few days. Maybe I will. That could be a good little thing to do. Yo, big up to H Money, Mr. The Zone. What's up, H Money? I've been seeing your streams coming up on my feed, man, talking about up and coming fighters. Good stuff, man. Big up to H Money. Apology, man. He says Bivol plays it safe a little too much. He does. Dmitry Bivol's a guy who, if he's boxing you and his opponent's not having success, he's not going to take risks to try and get the knockout. He's going to keep boxing, keep boxing, keep boxing. You need to actually really take Dmitry Bivol out of his rhythm. He's not going to do it voluntarily. He's I wouldn't say he's safety first per se, like negative, but he's certainly cautious. I would say that much. He's certainly cautious. Given Wilder has a terrible inside game, pretty much against Fury, it's a blessing he never ended up fighting Povetkin. Yeah, that's true. I think Povetkin at that time would have been a nightmare style for Deontay. You know, at the time I was picking Povetkin to win. Obviously Wilder, if he catches Povetkin coming in, he could knock him out. But Povetkin in Russia, you know, I would have picked Povetkin that night. That was 2016, I want to say. That was supposed to happen. I would have picked Povetkin. I would have picked Povetkin. Some might argue, John Cable, some might argue Wilder held his belt longer than Parker, but we all know he was fed easy fights, cruiserweights and old men. Exactly, that's the thing. Luis Ortiz was really the only win on that title defense that means anything. I know a lot of people kind of write off the Ortiz win. I give Wilder credit for the first Ortiz fight, and even the second. He was a decent fighter, Luis Ortiz, but other than that, there's nothing there. There's nothing there at all. There really isn't. I think a lot of heavyweights are going to be above Wilder after Fury matches him again. Yeah, 100%. I mean, Wilder could retire after a third Fury fight. What's there for Wilder if he gets beat again? Because he would need to come back. He would need to get a couple of good wins at a decent level to really make his name relevant again. So, I mean, maybe he would retire if he loses to Wilder again. Who knows? I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. But yeah, Wilder needs to go back to the drawing boards. He really does. He really does. He needs to work on a lot. Let's say that. You forgot Marvin Hagler and Gennady Golovkin as well. Man, I love watching Marvin Hagler fight, man. Going back and watching his old fights. Obviously, I wasn't around back then. I'm only 25, but yeah, Marvin Hagler was great. I still felt he beat Sugar Ray Leonard, to be honest. But there we go. Ooh, Boxing Virus. That's a great fantasy fight. Gerald McClellan versus Iran Barkley at 168. Interesting. Gerald McClellan obviously was a middleweight champion. I think he was the WBC middleweight champion. He beat Julian Jackson twice. Terrific puncher. At 168 against Iran Barkley, I think that could be a bit of a war, but I would take Gerald McClellan to knock out Iran Barkley, to be honest. I would take Gerald McClellan in a war by knockout, mid-round knockout, Gerald McClellan. Gerald McClellan could have been a really good fighter if his career was longer, but obviously we know what happened there with Nigel Benn. But Gerald McClellan was a serious fighter, tall, sort of rangy type of fighter with very good punching power. Official Scorecard Boxing, 100% agree. Beterbiev showed amazing inside fighting skills versus Wojcik, traps and counter punching as well. But that inside fighting, 100%. And he can counter punch while fighting on the front foot. Beterbiev is very skilled. A lot of people just see this guy as like a brawler or a come-forward fighter who just applies pressure. He's a lot more than that. He is a pressure fighter, but I would call him like a boxer pressure fighter, to be honest, because he can box on the front foot. He's a very good pressure fighter, a world-class pressure fighter, in my opinion. Boxing Virus, he thinks Bivol can have great success at 168. I do as well. Bivol's not a big light heavyweight. He's really not. He's not a big light heavyweight. And if you see him on the scales, he's never really like defined and cut. I think he can lose a bit more weight. I think he can make 168. How comfortably he can do it, I'm not sure, but I think he can certainly make it. Vitali's injury kept him out for a chunk of time when Vlad was able to hog the spotlight. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Vitali was out for 4 years. Between 2004 and 2008. He came back in 2008 against Samuel Peter. That was it. Vitali had the better skills, but Vladimir had the better resume. Yeah. Vitali, I don't know about skill. Fundamentally, I think Vladimir was better, but Vitali's style was so offbeat and off-key. He's hard to fight. He's hard to fight. Yes, sir. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Yeah, I've fallen well far behind in these chats. Yeah, Toby Bartlett. Come on, guys, hit the like button and support. Yes, sir. Smash the like. Smash the like. Lennox ducked for Vitali rematch. Yeah, that's a shame we never got to see that rematch between Lennox and Vitali, because that was a great fight. That really was a great fight. Given what Lennox did in his career, I can't really hold it against him, to be honest. I can't really hold it against him, but it would have been a great fight. Would have been a great fight. Really would have. Apology thinks Vitali had the better control of distance and better defense. Yeah, Vitali's defense might have been better. He could evade shots a lot better than Vladimir, to be honest. If you got past Vladimir's range, then he was hittable, but Vitali was a lot more hard to catch clean. He was a lot harder to catch clean. He really was. Max Kuckerman, he thinks Vitali was better than Vladimir. I see a lot of people say that, to be fair. I would say the majority of people say Vitali's better. I'm in the minority. I think Vladimir was better, sorry. I think he was a much better technical boxer. But there we go. That's just my opinion. Del, how tall are you and what's your weight? And do you think you can kick John Fury's ass in a boxing match? I couldn't beat John Fury in a boxing match even now. But I'm 6'1" and I weigh about, I think, 160, 165. So I'm like a middleweight / super middleweight right now. That's my weight. That's my height and weight. I could drain myself down and go to like 154. I'll be like the White Charlo, just a lanky dude at 154. But yeah, I'm 6'1", about 160, give or take. Okie dokie. Yeah, I agree, John Cable. I think that's why Fury got rid of Ben Davison, because he was always too cautious and wouldn't allow Fury to go for the finish in the first fight and in the Pianetta fight as well. Yeah, and it's funny you say that. A lot of people at the time criticised Freddie Roach for basically criticising Ben Davison. He was saying that, essentially, he said that Tyson Fury should have been let off the leash and should have been told to, exchange more, let go of his shots more, because Wilder was there for the taking. Freddie Roach saw that in the first fight, and I think Tyson Fury himself saw that in the 12th round. I think Tyson Fury knew Freddie Roach was right as well, to be honest. Yeah, that is true, Max Kuckerman. Vitali barely lost rounds. That is true. Matt Heisman, as much as I dislike Wilder, I'm really hesitant to write him off completely in the third fight. He always has that right hand. Yeah, you can never rule Wilder completely out, let's be honest. You can never rule him out, but I think the confidence might be completely gone. That's what I would say. Maybe Wilder's so delusional that the confidence isn't gone. Maybe he's going to be, have that same confidence level, but yeah, he needs to make big improvements. Basically, what you're saying there is, I totally agree with you, but all Wilder has is hope. He can hope he lands that right hand, but can he go in there with any strategy to beat Tyson Fury? No, it's just hope my right hand lands. Hopefully, I knock him out. That's the game plan. And is that enough at world-class level? 99% of the time, no. No. Who do you think will come out on top in the heavyweight eventually? And do you think that there are fighters that go under the radar that could score some massive upsets? Really good question, Zaro. Big up to Zaro. If I had to bet, I think you've got to bet with Tyson Fury to be the man who comes out on top. One thing I will say about Tyson Fury, mainly his fans, I think a lot of fans are kind of seeing Joshua Fury as a foregone conclusion. I certainly wouldn't go that far. I would make Fury a favourite. I really would. I would pick Fury to win. But Joshua was a much more complete offensive fighter in comparison to Deontay Wilder. Joshua's got power in both hands. He's a better combination puncher. He's very good at mid-range, in the mid-range area. So Tyson Fury applying pressure against Joshua, in my opinion, is the wrong strategy. I think that's a lot more risky than doing it to Wilder, to be honest, just because Joshua is far more offensively gifted. I think Tyson Fury against Joshua needs to revert to box and move. If he does that, I think he outboxes Joshua. But I think trying to walk Joshua down could be risky. He could still beat Joshua by walking him down. Don't get me wrong. He could make him work hard, tire him out and knock him out. But I think applying pressure against Joshua for Fury is more risky. And do you think there's fighters that go under the radar that could score massive upsets? Yeah, there's a few fighters under the radar that could score upsets. I'm not going to talk about prospects, but even someone like Oscar Rivas, that guy has genuine power in that left hook. He's explosive. He's short and compact. He could catch somebody on any given night and maybe knock some top guys out. Who knows? Who knows? Vitali made a lot of guys quit on their stall. Yeah, he did. Vitali wasn't the puncher his brother was, but Vitali was purely accumulation. You know, keep on ramming that jab in your face, that right hand behind it. You know, Vitali was purely accumulation. Threw a lot of punches for a big man. He really did. He had a great gas tank, Vitali Klitschko. One of the best gas tanks I've seen from a big man at heavyweight. Really, really good gas tank. Great conditioning. Very good conditioning, man. I do miss Vitali Klitschko. I liked his style of fighting. I really do. I miss his style of fighting. 1 second. There we go. Sorry, I opened the wrong tab there. Damn, you're 30. Sorry, Fat Apples, damn, you're 25. By 35, you're going to make Dan Rafael look like a knowledge. I can't fucking read tonight, lads. We'll start again. Fat Apples, damn, you're 25. By 35, you're going to make Fat Dan look like a novice with your boxing knowledge. No, thank you very much. Did you notice how I put Fat Dan in there myself? I didn't mean to do that. That's how much of a cunt I am. But there we go. There we go. The Bronze Plumber fantasy fight: David Price versus Deontay Wilder. 6 rounds only. Come on, man. We've still got to go with Deontay Wilder against David Price. Coinblatter, he takes the Ty and Booth view on Gerald McClellan. He deserves brain damage for torturing dogs to death. Fuck that guy. Listen, man, I wouldn't argue with you, in all honesty. I wouldn't argue with you. And it is what it is, man. But as a fighter, he was a very good fighter. He was a very good fighter. Dangerous dude, man, with that power, that right hand, man. That right hand. Skinny Beterbiev versus Hagler, 2 underrated boxers. Anybody think the Vitali Briggs fight should have been stopped? 100% boxing virus, 100%. Shannon Briggs was in hospital in Germany for like a week after that fight. He took a beating, man. His face was swollen. You know, I think he broke his cheekbone. He had all sorts of damage. Orbital bone was damaged as well. Shannon Briggs was in a bad way, man, after that fight. He got messed up. Blue Collar, H Money, big up H Money. Does Josh Taylor's fighting style remind you a bit of Joe Calzaghe? I see where you're coming from. His stance reminds me of Calzaghe, but he's not as quick as Calzaghe, and I think his punch technique is a bit better than Calzaghe's, to be honest. But the way he stands and throws punches, I can actually see the similarity. H Money, I can see the similarity. Fundamentally, Vladimir was better than Vitali, but Vitali was awkward and tough and just more cerebral. Yeah, initiative fighter. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Vitali was the more natural fighter, maybe, between the two. Benavidez versus Bivol at 168. I would have to favour Dimitri Bivol, to be honest, just because David Benavidez hasn't really fought anybody yet. He needs to really step up. But it's a good fight. It's a good fight. I do like Benavidez. I think he's got some really good attributes. He's young, first and foremost, but he's a big dude. He's got very good hand speed, great combination puncher. You know, Benavidez, is a really good talent. I want to see his fight. I want to see him fight Caleb Plant first, in all honesty. That's the fight to make. That's the fight to make at 168. That's the fight I want to see most. Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. Lennox is my number 4 of all time, though Vitali more than held his own. Where does that leave Vitali in my eyes? Quite high. His resume frustrates me, but he loves his little bro, doesn't he? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Vitali's resume is not the strongest. That's what lets him down. That's what lets him down. I agree, Tone. I agree. Vlad was a better boxer in terms of skill, better technique, more fluid, in my opinion. Yeah, he was a better fundamental boxer, and he had a better resume. That's why I rate Vladimir above Vitali Klitschko. I just think he's got more going for him in regards to that conversation. Who was better? I think Vladimir's got more going for him. H Money, Mr. DAZN. Who you got? Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez. Oh, that's a hard fight to call. That's a hard fight to call. I think Taylor's more naturally skilled, to be honest. He's a southpaw as well, better punch variety. But Jose Ramirez brings pressure. He never lets up. He's got a great punch output, and he'll come to fight. Um, I would take Josh Taylor by a close decision. Maybe a fight that splits opinion, but Josh Taylor by close decision. I've seen a lot of people out here in the UK. They say that Josh Taylor's going to smash Jose Ramirez. I don't see it that way. I think it's going to be a very hard fight. Very hard fight. Yeah, big up to Lewis. Shout out to Lewis, man. A long-time supporter. Big up to Lewis. Just here for a few minutes. Yeah, no problem at all, man. It's no problem. No problem at all. Smash the like vote. Much appreciated. Got to respect Vitali. The loss did not deter him. I like that about Vitali. Very underrated. And his only real loss was a cut. Yeah, he lost by cut against Lennox and against Shannon Briggs. That was because of his shoulder was dislocated. Something like that. Yeah, exactly, official. Yeah, a lot of people at the time were saying Roach was jealous of Ben Davison and wanted to become Fury's main coach. Yeah, they did. They did. And yeah, and now look, Freddie Roach was right, wasn't he? Freddie Roach was correct. Exactly, B-Space. Freddie Roach is no noob. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah, I agree, Max. I totally agree. Fury should fight Joshua like he did Vladimir. I agree. I think he would bamboozle Joshua with that sort of style. I think that sort of style would be a bit too much for Joshua. But being aggressive against Joshua, I do believe that's risky. I do believe that's risky. I have to confess, I'm not the biggest Joshua fan. I never have been. But I do think that guy's genuinely a really good heavyweight. He's got some decent skill. Like I say, particularly at the mid-range. Some of his combinations are really nice. And he's got power. Again, I'm not the biggest Joshua fan, but I've got to give him credit. I think he's a good heavyweight. And his resume proves that. His resume is pretty tight, to be fair. What do you think of Zurdo Ramirez moving to 175, and how's he going to fit, considering he had a bit of cherry picking towards his 168 campaign after looking decent? Yeah. Gilberto Ramirez, he's a funny one, because I've known about this guy for years, literally years, and I've always been quite high on Gilberto Ramirez. He's like 6'3", he's a southpaw, he's got solid fundamentals without doing anything particularly well. He's just a really well-rounded fighter. I always had high hopes for Gilberto Ramirez, but it's not really worked out the way I've expected it to. Having said that, I do believe Gilberto Ramirez gives guys problems at 175. I don't think he's an easy fight for anybody, but I wouldn't pick him to beat the likes of Beterbiev or even Bivol. I would pick these guys over him. But a solid contender at 175, sorry. Did I say 168? I meant 175. Coin Blatter, the Tijuana Tornado versus Tartan Tornado. Go off, King. Ah, man. Who would you pick in that? Who would you pick in that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You mean Eric Morales versus Josh Taylor, by the way? You mean Eric Morales? If you're talking about Eric Morales, you would have to favour Josh Taylor, because Morales was past his best when he was at 140. So I would take Josh Taylor, to be honest. Lewis, he says, Joshua has a back foot game and Wilder does not. That's why Tyson should not fight him the same way. Yeah, that as well. Joshua's just a more well-rounded fighter than Wilder. You know, he's a more well-rounded fighter. And it's funny because I think Joshua's a harder fight for Fury than Wilder. Having said that, I think Wilder could genuinely beat Joshua still, even now. It's one of those things. It's a style thing. But yeah, I think Joshua's he's a harder fight for Joshua than Wilder. There's no doubt in my mind about that. There's no doubt in my mind. Keith Be Real, big up to Keith Be Real in the chat. Vitali did the Calzaghe slap, then opens you up and hit. Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, he'll open you up and hit you clean down the middle. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, lads, I'm so far behind in the chat. Bugsy Icon, Big up to Bugsy. Spence versus Crawford. I'm a bit of a Crawford fanboy. Spence versus Crawford. So for me personally, if you asked me this before Spence's accident, I would have taken Errol Spence. I can't lie. I would have made Errol Spence a favourite over Terence Crawford. But with what's gone on with Errol Spence, the accident, the drinking, not living the life, I've got to pick Crawford. I've got to pick Crawford. We've got no idea how Spence is going to look after this crash. So that's going to be interesting. That's when I'll make my real pick. Once I see Errol Spence back in the ring, I'll make my decision. But right now, I guess I favour Crawford due to what's gone on. That's my opinion. H Money, Blue, my top 5 fighters of all time: Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, Roberto Duran, and Bernard Hopkins. All great fighters, man. All great fighters. Roberto Duran's my favourite out of that list. And I liked Floyd as well. I know I'm gonna get criticised for saying that, but I liked Floyd. I loved Floyd's fight nights. You know, when he fought, there was something about a Floyd Mayweather fight that just got me amped. No worries, Zara, man. Thank you very much. Very good answer. I completely agree on your analysis on Fury Joshua. Big up, Del. I really enjoy your videos. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. It's been tough with what's going on, but I'll keep on putting content out there. I'll keep on putting content out there. But thank you very much for the compliment. Thank you very much. This is a good question. Who's going to come out on top at 168 in your opinion? I really think that division is open right now. None of these guys are really taking the ball by the scruff of the neck. But if I had to bet, I would take David Benavidez. I think he beats Caleb Plant. A lot of people are picking Caleb Plant, but I've got a feeling the pressure Benavidez brings with his size could be a bit too much for Plant down the stretch. I think Benavidez beats Plant. Based on Billy Joe's performances at 168, I would take Benavidez to beat Billy Joe. And Callum Smith, you know, again, his last performance against Ryder, I think I'd pick Benavidez to beat all of these guys, to be honest. Again, I'm not confident in those picks, but I would say David Benavidez has the best chance to really come out on top at 168. But that's my opinion. But I like Benavidez, so maybe I'm biased. Matt Heisman, I like Dubois, but I can't help feel that he's clearly very limited. He can improve in time, for sure, but that stiffness and slowness has Frank Bruno 2.0 written all over him. I don't see the Joshua comparisons. Neither do I, Matt. And it's funny you say that. A lot of people over the years have compared Joshua to Frank Bruno. For me, that's a very lazy comparison. The only similarities between Joshua and Bruno are they're Black Britons. That's all there is to it. They're Black British guys. That's the only similarity between Bruno and Joshua. Stylistically, they're completely different. Frank Dubois is more like Frank Bruno, to be honest, in terms of style. Not the same, still different styles, but they are more similar. But yeah, I do agree, mate. The thing is with Dubois, he's very young. And I see what you're saying, the stiffness, he is a bit predictable. But I do believe he's improving fight after fight. You know, his punch variety is getting better. He's throwing different shots. He's working the body a bit more. He seems to be really gaining confidence, gaining momentum. I think he's getting better. So I think he can iron out some issues in his game. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Del, have you heard Sir Edward Hearn has offered EA Sports to make a DAZN fight night game, but they don't give fuck all about boxing? Yeah, I did hear about that. That's disappointing. That really is disappointing. But I'm sure a boxing game can be made. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, man. I want a good boxing game. The last boxing game was what? Fight Night Champion? That was like 2010, 2011. So it's been a long time since we've had a good boxing game. We need one. What would be great? This would be great. I would love to have a boxing game come out. Then we can do little tournaments, like YouTube tournaments. That'd be amazing. Like maybe uploaders can fight each other. Uploaders versus viewers. That'd be great, man. How much fun you could have with that. That'd be amazing. Muhammad Ahmad, Bruce Lee. Yeah, big up to Mohammed Amhad, Bruce Lee. Big up to you, sir. Damn, Max Kuckerman thinks Joshua is an easier fight for Fury than Wilder. Man, interesting. AJ Fury's will be Rackman versus Lewis. I see a lucky AJ KOing Fury. You never know. H Money's got Bernard Hopkins over Roy Jones. I'm more of a Roy Jones man myself, personally. I can't lie. Jim McDonald, Blue Collar Sports TV. Tony Bellew has murmured he wants to fight Povetkin. Thoughts? Povetkin murders Tony Bellew, to be honest. He murders Tony Bellew, in my opinion. He'll knock him out. Povetkin he's a heavyweight for a start. He's a real heavyweight. And skill for skill, Povetkin is levels above Tony Bellew, in my opinion. Zaro, one thing about Vladimir is that he was a really gifted athlete. I remember Emmanuel saying that he has never worked with a fighter that gifted as he was, but he left most of that form in the gym. Yes, Zaro. I know what you're talking about. Emmanuel Stewart actually said Vladimir was the most talented fighter, or one of the most talented fighters he ever worked with. He said he was more talented than Lennox Lewis, but he didn't have that fighter's instinct like Lennox had. That was the difference. But yeah, Vladimir was a great athlete. The best example of Vladimir Klitschko's athleticism is the David Haye fight, believe it or not. David Haye back then was exceptionally quick for a heavyweight. Quick hands, quick feet. But look at Vladimir Klitschko's feet in that David Haye fight. He was keeping up with David Haye. A 6'7" Vladimir Klitschko was keeping up with David Haye. His feet were so quick, Klitschko's, for a big dude. He was a great athlete. You're 100% right. 100% right. Yeah, exactly, official. Yeah, Joshua knows how to counter, unlike Wilder. Exactly. And he takes those openings pretty quickly. He'll spot the opening and he'll take it. Oh, shit. I've lost myself in the comments. Jackal Davis, do you see Janabek taking over at 160? Sorry, I've missed a few comments, by the way. But do I see Janabek taking over 160? I need to see more Jackal Davis. He was a good amateur. I remember him beating up Anthony Fowler in the Olympics, but I need to see a bit more. From what I've seen so far, he's not really been all that impressive, but we'll see. We'll see. It's too early, I think. It's too early for Janabek. It's too early. We'll see in a few fights' time. Max Kuckerman. Floyd is the best heel/antagonist in the history of boxing. I agree. That was his selling point. If it was down to style and exciting fights purely alone, Floyd would have never been a draw. Let's be honest about it. It was purely his personality, his heel personality. That's what it was. And he made it work for himself. He got himself paid. Oh, Antonio Margarito. Sorry. Tijuana Tornado, of course. You're saying Margarito versus Josh Taylor? I mean, you've got to pick Margarito. It's hard to say with Margarito because of what went on, but a welterweight prime Margarito, that guy was a problem. Yeah, I've heard that Keith be real. Mayweather copied Hopkins' style. He said it once early in his career, then he denied it later in his career. Yeah, I heard that as well. I've heard that somewhere. I've never played that Coin Blatter. I've never played Victorious Boxers on PS2. Never played it. This is interesting. Matt Heisman. See, this is why you guys are the best, man. Big up to Matt, by the way, for Super Chat. I never saw that come through. Big up to Matt with the Super Chat. Matt Heisman. Heard through a source at Sky about a certain Ingle 147/154 pound fighter who took a year out to serve a drug ban last year. Was very surprised at how it got gagged. That is very interesting. And obviously, I'm not going to name any names, but it's not really too hard to work that out, is it? That's a very interesting comment, Matt. Very interesting. And listen, that gym, it's not exactly squeaky clean, is it? So we'll see, man. I mean, Kid Galahad, Billy Joe Saunders, they got popped. Very interesting. That's an eye opener. But I'm not surprised. I am surprised in a sense, but I'm not surprised at the same time, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Blue, how do you think Usyk's going to do against Joshua and Tyson Fury? I think Tyson Fury stylistically is a really hard fight, in all honesty. Plus the size of Tyson Fury, I would make Tyson Fury a big favourite. Joshua, I think Joshua is a more winnable fight for Usyk, based on styles. Maybe Usyk can try and stick and move, get in and out, make it hard for Joshua. But again, Joshua's a big dude. He can punch. I've got to be honest. I need to see more from Usyk at heavyweight. But if they fought tomorrow, let's say they fought tomorrow, I would make Tyson Fury a big favourite over Usyk. And I would make Joshua a fair favourite over Usyk. I've got to favour those guys right now. As much as I like Usyk, I would love to tell you Usyk beats both, but I can't say that with any real conviction, so I'm not going to. I'm not going to, man. I've got to favour both guys to beat Usyk. Thank you, Matt, man. Thank you very much. No problem at all. No problem at all. And that is a very interesting comment. That's a very interesting comment. I'd say that. Where are we at? Yeah, Joshua used. Yeah, he kind of used that Floyd style stick and move in the Ruiz rematch. Yeah, safety first, keep it behind the jab, only throw that right hand when it's open. Yeah, he didn't take any risks in that fight. You could tell in that fight there was a couple of moments when Joshua wanted to unload, but he forced himself not to. You could tell there was a few moments in that fight when Joshua wanted to exchange, but he was very disciplined in that fight. Very disciplined. Do you have your favourites already made up for the Olympics per category, Del? Me, myself, I'm really looking forward to the Olympics. Too bad that it's now 2021. Yeah, so super heavyweight, I make Bakadir Jalilov a big favourite, to be honest. That's my only real favourite that I'm convinced is going to win gold. Bakadir Jalilov, the super heavyweight southpaw, 6'7", power puncher. That dude's a problem. He's a problem. But the other divisions, I'm not really sure yet, to be honest. I'm not really sure. Good question, though. Very good question. "47", he says Usyk can't beat Fury, never. Yeah, I'll never say never. Never say never. But I think it's hard for Usyk. I really do. That fight's hard for Usyk. For Hossman, I think there will be some very good undercard matches when boxing returns. What do you think? Yeah, you might be right. You might be right, because a lot of these guys are going to want to be active. They're going to want to fight. And there's only going to be so many dates they have for the rest of this year whenever boxing comes back. So you could see some stacked cards of some good fights, hopefully. Hopefully that's what we get. But I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised. For Bronze Plumber, do you rate Usyk as a pound-for-pound top 10? If so, then how? If so, then how when he's a heavyweight with a poor resume? I mean, I rate him top 10 pound-for-pound purely based on what he did at cruiserweight, not what he did at heavyweight. But again, it's getting a little while now since Usyk's beat somebody good. So, but I still have him top 10. He's dropping down my list, to be honest, but I would still have him top 10. Just based on what he did at Cruiser. Coin Blatter, I know Joshua's got some bitchy qualities, but the dude is pretty underrated in my opinion. He'd knock out Wilder before or after the Fury fight. He's a lot better technically and shows a lot more versatility. I agree in regards to he is better technically and shows more versatility. He's a better all-round fighter than Wilder. Let's not get it twisted. But I think Wilder's more likely to land his right hand on Joshua than he was against Fury. And I think if he connects with Joshua, he can knock Joshua clean out. I still wouldn't be confident in making a pick in that fight, to be honest. Nick Rich, big up to Nick Rich. Pound for pound is irrelevant in the heavyweight division. I do agree, Nick. I do agree. My only exception to that is a cruiserweight who moves up, because he's actually done it in 2 weight classes. But if you're a natural heavyweight who's always fought at heavyweight, I won't put you in my pound for pound list. I'll say that much. So Tyson Fury, he's never going to be in my pound for pound list, no matter what he does. That's how I see it anyway. That's just my opinion. That's my criteria, I guess. But yeah, I agree. Fantasy fight, Miguel Cotto versus Juan Manuel Marquez at 147. Yeah, that's a really good fight. Miguel Cotto versus Juan Manuel Marquez. That's a hell of a fight. That's got war written all over it, man. I've got to say, I was a big Miguel Cotto fan. I always felt he got a little bit too much abuse from fans. You know, basically based off the end of his career when he was picking and choosing fights. But Miguel Cotto, his resume is stacked. He fought a lot of dudes. Him versus Marquez is a great fight. Cotto is more naturally aggressive between the two, but Marquez is a very astute counterpuncher. At 147, at 147, Cotto or Marquez, I would take Cotto. Hard-fought decision, Miguel Cotto. Very good fight, though. That's a very good fight. That's a war right there, man. What separates Fury from Joshua, this is from Max Kuckerman, is that he took the fight with Wilder and showed out. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Okay. See, again, Matt dropping some knowledge once again. In relation to a certain fighter, I heard a rival of his had finally signed to fight, then the certain fighter popped dirty. Then his rival was given a soft touch. That Saudi money kept him sweet. Interesting. There we go. Doesn't surprise me. That's really interesting, Matt. See? It's amazing. That's yeah. I'm not surprised, but I am surprised, like I said. Coin Blatter, if Marquez couldn't beat Bradley, how's he going to beat Cotto? I think Cotto stylistically is a little bit kinder for Marquez, because Cotto is he does kind of come forward. He can box, don't get me wrong, but Cotto is fairly aggressive, and for a counterpuncher like Marquez, that's going to give him more opportunities. Whereas Bradley in the Marquez fight kind of boxed and moved. He made Marquez chase the fight. I don't think Cotto necessarily is going to do that against Marquez. He's going to hold his feet a lot more, and that's going to give Marquez some time to counter and get some good shots off. But I would pick Cotto. Dead leg Brooke. We're not going to make any accusations on this channel. We're not going to make any accusations, but that's very interesting, Matt. Really is. Yeah, big up to BG London, man. I didn't see you. Big up to BG. Been supporting for a while, man. Big up to BG. Hopefully you're doing well in this strange time that we're living in right now. Thank you for the support, boys. Much appreciated. If you could smash the like, lads, be much appreciated. That's all I'll say, much appreciated. It'd be very helpful if you smash the like. There we go. Oh, my fucking screen's frozen. There we go. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Brooke versus Khan, 2045 at £300. Yeah, exactly. I'm not even interested in Kell Brook Amir Khan anymore. I can't lie. I'm not really that interested. Khan versus Brook, like these days, I mean, I think it's a slap in the face to British boxing fans, in all honesty. When these guys were in their primes, they never gave us this fight. Now these guys are out on their way out, they want to make a bit of cash and retire. That's taking the piss. I wouldn't buy this fight personally. I wouldn't buy that fight on pay-per-view. I really wouldn't. No way. That's taking the piss. You couldn't fight in your primes, but now you need a bit. Now you want a fucking retirement fund. You want to fight? Nah. I'll watch it on stream. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't buy it. Yo, big up to Max Kuckerman. Coronavirus is a bigger fraud than Wilder's resume. Oh dear. Dear. Yeah, this whole corona thing's kind of getting on my nerves now. They're really infringing on our rights. They really are. But I ain't going to talk about that. Because, yeah, I don't want to be labelled as crazy, I guess. But it is what it is. I do think it's amazing, though, how quickly people are willing to give up their rights to the government. But it is what it is. Coinblatter Dell, did you see Amir Khan's comments on the corona hoax and the 5G theories? I wonder if he's going to get penalised by the British Boxing Board of Control for spreading conspiracies. Interesting point there. I did see what Amir Khan said. I did see what he said. But yeah, I wonder if he's going to get penalised. Interesting. BG London, what's your thoughts on the Luke Campbell situation, if you're interested? Yeah, I am. As for Devin Haney getting reinstated, if he's fit to fight, then ultimately he should be reinstated because there's no fights now anyway. He's fully fit. They can reinstate him, fair enough. But I am kind of gutted we might not see Luke Campbell versus Fortuna. I think that was a really good fight, to be honest. I think that was a really good fight. Interesting style clash. Luke Campbell he does struggle with pressure fighters, and Javier Fortuna can apply good pressure. So I thought that'd be an interesting fight. But we'll see what happens there. From what I've heard, Javier Fortuna is Devin Haney's mandatory again. So we might get Devin Haney versus Fortuna soon. I don't mind that fight. Personally, but it's an okay fight. Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, Chris Hayes, about Froch and Calzaghe, man. Carl Froch is still obsessed with Joe Calzaghe. Prime for prime, Joe Calzaghe would have won on points. Unanimous decision. Keith, be real. He wants 10G, the real G, 100%, man. 100%. 4-7, don't worry, Dell. Bill Gates has a vaccine, but it's definitely different to the one that gave 500,000 kids polio in India. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. I wouldn't take no vaccine for this coronavirus. No way, Jose. No way. But yeah, BG London, I am kind of disappointed that Luke Campbell and Fortuna might not fight. I was looking forward to that fight. I think that was a good fight. Four Hossman, 12-round matches test skills and technique, but 15 rounds tested games and heart. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, so 15 rounds tested heart and balls, but yeah, 12 rounds more test skills and technique. Yeah, a 15-round fight's a lot different to a 12-round fight. Like, there's a lot of fights we can think of in the last few years in which, if they were 15-round fights, they could have been completely different. You know. But there we go. Kelbrook is not running as a 2G, and Paul Khan, he's on 1G now. That's why he's a flat earther. Oh dear. Yeah, Amir Khan's a strange dude, man. Entertaining but strange. We can criticize Amir Khan all we want, but one thing we can't say about Amir Khan, inside and outside the ring, that guy has been pure entertainment. Amir Khan, pure entertainment. From his personal scandals to his fights in the ring, what's not to like, man? Bronze Plumber, Fury Wilder won over 15 rounds. Who wins and how? Fury wins that fight by knockout. If Wilder Fury won was a 15-rounder, Fury would have won by knockout. Wilder was gassing in the 12th round. He was getting buzzed as well. He was getting buzzed up. So, yeah, exactly, BG London. Calzaghe's happy in retirement. Carl Froch is still trying to fucking troll him into getting a fight. It's crazy. Yeah, yeah, Chris Hayes, I saw that. Police want to look through our shopping bags. Absolutely disgraceful. And people are so willing for this to happen. That's the thing. People are so willing to just give up their rights. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. Max Kuckerman, the National Forest and State Park hiking trails are closed because of coronavirus. It's gone too far when you're closing hiking trails in the forest. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah, the police over here, man. The police over here are questionable at times. No doubt, Chris Hayes. No doubt. Keith, be real. Billy Joe Saunders is never going to get a shot now. I don't think he's going to get a shot at Canelo anymore, personally. I think that ship sailed. And I don't think it's because of the video, personally. I don't think it's because of that video. I think Canelo is going to go straight in there with Gennady Golovkin because the zone right now are losing. They're losing subscribers because of what's going on with coronavirus. The zone they're going to want to put on a really big fight that draws subscribers, and that fight is Golovkin versus Canelo 3. I think that's what they're going to make. Because of this virus, Billy's probably missed out on his fight. That's how I see that playing out personally. That's how I see it playing out. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully Billy can get a big fight. See, I would still like to see Billy versus Callum Smith. That's a good fight. Try and unify at 168. Billy versus Caleb Plant. That would be a great boxing match. I'd love to see that fight. Yeah, big up Russell Newton. Big up Russell. H Money blew my three favorite fighters: Usyk, Demetrius Andrade, and Devin Haney. I like all of those dudes. H Money. I like all of those guys. Interesting to see Devin Haney come back. Very good prospect. Well, he's not a prospect anymore. He's a champion, but a very good talent. Very good talent. Yeah, Muhammad Ahmad, Bruce Lee. Our freedom has died now due to the mainstream media fear factor. Yep. Yep. Keith, be real. Billy versus Lemieux was funny. Yeah, Billy trolled David Lemieux in there. He outboxed him and trolled him. That was a great performance. Great performance. Coin Blatter, he's not a fan of Canelo. He says Canelo's one of the biggest frauds ever. Mexican boxing has really taken a shit since this guy's come to the scene. My whole thing with Canelo is this. It's very simple. As a fighter, just purely as a fighter, I think the guy is tremendously skilled and he's great to watch. I don't like the politics that come with Canelo fights. That's what I don't like. The favourable judging, things like that, the drug testing drama, these sort of things I don't like about Canelo. But as a fighter, I do genuinely like watching him fight. And he's very talented. He's a great fighter. He really is. But yeah, I get what you're saying. The politics with Canelo is it makes it hard to get behind his fights. It really does. I felt that way a long time. I would love to enjoy Canelo. I really would, but it's hard to. It's really hard to. Yeah, Max Kuckerman, he says he personally thinks Billy Joe would give Canelo trouble. He rises for his biggest fights. Yeah. And also stylistically, Billy Joe, I think, could be trouble for Canelo. If you look at the times Canelo's fought guys who stick and move and make him take the initiative, Canelo kind of struggles. Obviously, the Floyd fight is the best example, but the Lara fight, the Austin Trout fight, Canelo struggled in these fights. He was made to take the lead. He was made to apply pressure. And against a guy who can move, I don't think Canelo's necessarily a great pressure fighter. So stylistically, Billy Joe, I think's got the ability to make Canelo struggle in rounds. But winning a decision against Canelo, like Billy Joe could win 7 rounds to 5, but he's not going to get the decision. He could win 8 rounds to 4. He's not going to get the decision. So I think Billy Joe's chances in that fight are very slim. In all honesty, very slim. But yeah, you guys are right though in regards to the authorities with this coronavirus nonsense. Yeah, Coin Platter. That's I agree, man. I agree. I'm not arguing with what you said. Amir Khan was giving Canelo trouble until he got until he got chinned. Yeah. Official scorecard boxing. He would love to see the debate between El Jefe and H Money, but the host would have to keep muting H to let Jefe break it down. That'd be a good debate. I'd listen to it. I'd listen to it. I'd listen to it. I would say H Money knows a lot more about boxing though than El Jefe. Honestly, I would say H Money knows a lot more about boxing. Hard to see Canelo. Yeah, it's hard to see Canelo losing on points. Really is. You got to smash that guy to pieces. I mean, Floyd. Look at the Floyd fight. One of the judges had it a draw. For Christ's sake, one of the judges had it a draw. That's all you can really say with Canelo. That's embarrassing. The Golovkin first fight, I felt Golovkin clearly won. I felt Lara beat Canelo as well. So there we go. There we go. Yeah, Russell Newton. I tend to agree. I think Billy Joe would do well early rounds. I just don't think he's a super middleweight. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I wouldn't back him against anybody at middleweight. I think Golovkin's still a really hard fight. I would favour Golovkin. Andrade's a really tricky fight. That could be a really, really close fight, highly contentious. I think there's hard fights for Billy at 160, to be honest. One person I would be confident in Billy beating is Jamal Charlo. I think Jamal Charlo is far too upright. You know, he's kind of basic. He's like a 1-2 type of fighter. Jab, right hand, rinse and repeat. I think Billy out of that southpaw stance could give Charlo fits, to be honest. I think he'd beat Charlo, Billy Joe. El Jefe has the third eye. According to him, he does. But there we go. There we go. For Hosman, he loves Floyd, but he lost Maidana. The first Maidana fight, in his opinion. It was a close fight. I think I scored that fight 7-5 to Floyd off the top of my head. Or did I even score it, actually? I don't even know, to be honest. But it was a close fight. I'll have to revisit that one. I've not seen that fight since the day it happened. That was actually a good fight, to be fair. Maidana, Floyd won. That's a good fight. One of my favourite Floyd fights. Yeah, Russell Newton. Yeah, a lot of people are saying. Yeah, a lot of people are going along with that sort of mindset that Golovkin's done. I don't think Golovkin's shot, but he's clearly past his best. Clearly past his best. Yo, big up to Corruption in Boxing. Hopefully you're doing well, man. Hopefully you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. I enjoyed your little segment on BDA last night as well. Corruption, very good stuff, man. Very good stuff. Yeah, Eubanks called out Gennady Golovkin. Eubank had his chance, man. He can go back. He can go back to the back of the queue, man. Eubank needs to fight the likes of a Jamal Charlo. Try and beat him. Try and get his belt, and then at that point, Eubank is a good option for Golovkin. But right now, listen, man, Eubank, sit back down. Get to the back of the queue, do something, earn that fight. Earn that fight. Christ. I actually like watching Eubank Jr. fight, but the guy's an idiot. The guy's a toolbox, as far as I'm concerned. He's an absolute toolbox. Eubank is Jeff Mayweather IBO level. Oh dear. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Eubank Jr. is a good fighter. He's better than some people say. A lot of people say he's trash. I wouldn't say he's trash at all. He's a good fighter, but just technically lacking. You know, lacking technically. Good athleticism, good hand speed, good punch variety, tough kid, but technically, Junior is some way off. He's some way off. Yeah, Duck, big up Duck, man. Saunders isn't even worthy of a big fight. Bum performances lately. Yeah. He looked poor against the Argentinian gentleman who he last fought. I forgot his name. And before that, Shefat Isufi in Stevenage, He got rocked in that fight with that right hand. Isufi caught him with that right hand over Billy's jab hand, and Billy was rocked. He was rocked. Yeah, Eubank Jr. is a funny fighter to me. I like watching him fight, but he doesn't help himself with what he says. Doesn't help himself. Saunders, the supposed master boxer, went life and death with trash boxer Eubank Jr., despite what the narratives say. Yeah, that fight was close, Duck. It was close. I scored it 7-5, I think, to Billy Joe. Billy Joe basically won the whole first half of that fight. And after that, he gassed out, and Eubank Jr. started winning rounds. Yeah, exactly, Keith Be Real, yeah. The Argentinian was giving Billy problems. I had the Argentinian dude winning until that stoppage, personally. Coin Blatter, thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the good comments, man. I really appreciate it. But yeah, everyone here's we've got a great little chat here, man. No doubt. No doubt. Thoughts on Broner returning? He put it out there. Laugh out loud. I heard Broner wants to try and go back down to lightweight. He can't make lightweight anymore. Broner's done, man. Broner's done. He can be involved in some good B-level fights, like he has been in the likes. You know, when he fights the likes of Jesse Vargas, Adrian Granados, people like that, he makes for fun fights. That's his level. Put him in there with guys like that. Josecito Lopez would be a good fight for Broner. That'd be a fun fight. When you put Broner in there with a world-class fighter, that's when he shells up and doesn't do anything. That's when he's boring. But stick him in there with a B-level guy, he can be in some fun fights. But the PBC, Al Heyman, they need to recognise that's his level and keep him there. You know, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. Yeah, big up to Adam Scott, another one of the long-term listeners. Big up to Adam. Hi, Del. Boxing is weird. People forget Fury nearly lost the last fight before Wilder against the Swedish bloke. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Broner versus Tank at lightweight. Boyfriend bash. Yeah. Triple J. Big up Triple J, man. Big up. Broner versus Khan. I would watch Broner versus Khan. That'd be funny. That'd be funny. Literally just for the banter. Broner Khan. We'll watch that shit. Khan could get knocked out against Broner. He really could. Muhammad Ahmad, Bruce Lee. I think Billy Joe troubles anyone if he's focused. There, I said it. Skillful as fuck, southpaw. Billy can give guys problems, man. I just don't trust his dedication, his discipline, his gas tank. I don't trust it. But I think he's a skilled fighter. AA Boxing and Blunts. Big up, man. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you've had a good Easter. You're not getting too medicated out there. Hopefully you're doing well, man. Hopefully you're doing well. Oh, yeah, no doubt. Otto Wallin performed really well against Tyson Fury. He had a good game plan. He brought a nice compact style, tried to get to Fury's body. You know, he had a good game plan. Jerry Gamache, his trainer, deserves a lot of credit for that performance. I know he lost the fight, but he was giving Tyson Fury some problems. Even before the cut, Tyson Fury wasn't looking too hot in that fight. Otto Wallin performed really well. Chris Hayes, he would rather see Eubank Jr. versus Charlo. I agree. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. Froch's career far exceeds Billy Joe's. I agree. Russell Newson, he would pay for a Hearn Warren presser. Yeah, that'd be a pay-per-view presser right there. That'd be funny as hell. BG London, this is an interesting question. Would you rather see Andrade or Billy Joe Saunders against Canelo? I guess if we're looking at recent form, who's looked better? I would say Andrade, to be honest. So I guess Andrade. I'm not hot on either one of those fights, personally. I'm not like fucking heated over them. They're okay fights, but if you're asking me what I prefer, I'd probably say Andrade, to be honest. Yo, big up AA, man. He's feeling blessed. My wife's in labour. I've just left her bouncing on a ball to get medicated. That's fucking hilarious, man. That's hilarious. Nathan would rather see Andrade fight Saunders, Jacobs, or Derevyanchenko. Yeah, they're all really good fights. They're all really good fights. I was gutted we never saw Saunders versus Andrade. I think that would have been a good fight. For us purists, anyway, that would have been an interesting fight. Wouldn't have been exciting, like no rewatchability, but would have been an interesting fight to see break out, like see how it plays out. Be interesting. Matt also can't help but think Hearn is more shady than the friendly front he puts on. Apples don't fall far from trees, and his father's company he kept was very questionable. Exactly, Matt. I've said that myself with Matchroom, and we know who we're talking about. Barry Hearn, you know, some of the company he kept. You know, people can ask the question. You're not necessarily accusing anybody of anything, but you'd have thought a journalist would have asked him a question along those lines. But there we go. Yeah, corruption. I agree. I totally agree. Very good comment. Billy Joe's athletic and counterpunching skills that were prominent early in his early 20s have been irreversibly eroded by age, inactivity, and a lack of discipline. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about Billy Joe outside the ring, you know, doing things he shouldn't be doing. I won't spell them out to you, but taking substances he shouldn't be taking. I'll say that much. But yeah, I agree. I agree. Billy lives. He doesn't live the life outside the ring. He really doesn't. I've heard. I live kind of near the area where he's from, or I visit that area quite a lot. And I know people who've been around Billy, and that guy likes to he likes to have a good time. Put it that way. And yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. Billy Joe, though, I do believe the guy was a genuine talent, though, but a guy who chances are he'll probably go down as a fighter who never really realised his potential, similar to Kell Brook. Kell Brook's a guy who, back in the day, I rated so highly. I thought Kell Brook's skill set was very good, but he never really made the most of it. He never built a resume, never built a legacy. So, yeah, there we go. Calzaghe was on, Keith Be Real. Calzaghe was on coke his whole career. Was he? I know he was on coke after his career when he retired, but not sure whether he was in his career. Nah, man. Saunders fighting Canelo, how Fury fought Wilder's suicide, in my opinion, Keith, be real. I think that's suicide. Canelo's got far more to worry about than just a right hand, just a straight right hand. Canelo's got every punch in the book, man. Billy needs to make Canelo take the initiative, in my opinion. You know, keep the distance, hold the range, fight off the back foot, pick him off with a jab, and make Canelo take the lead. That's what he needs to do, in my opinion. I think that's the style Canelo struggles most with, like the Lara fight, the Trout fight, the Mayweather fight. That's how I see it personally. Because I don't think Canelo is necessarily great at taking the lead against a back foot fighter. I don't think he cuts the ring off exceptionally well. His feet are kind of slow and ponderous. I don't think Canelo's great at being a pressure fighter, and I think you need to take advantage of that. To be honest, Denzel Hopkins, Deontay Wilder would smash all of these punks. Tyson Fury, he disagrees, man. He disagrees. But big up Denzel. Big up Denzel. Yo, smash the like, lads. Be much appreciated. Yeah, H Money. Yeah, Kell Brook is a tough dude, man. Took the Golovkin fight, jumping 2 weight classes. Fought Errol Spence. You know, he got mashed up in the end, but Denzel's one of those. I guarantee Denzel's a troll account though, so he's somebody else pretending to be Denzel. But we'll let him talk his talk. He can talk his talk. Yeah, the YouTube boxing media at this point is utter wank. Most people working are interested in becoming celebrities themselves and ass-licking promoters and ducking hard questions makes me cringe. 100% agree, Matt. 100% agree. I stick to certain channels like Unrivaled Boxing Talk and News is a guy who's a very knowledgeable uploader. People like that I like to follow. But I do agree though, Matt. I think a lot of guys are in it for themselves rather than their love of boxing. I'm sure they came into this with a love of boxing as their ambition, as their like driving force. But I think that changed with a lot of channels, But it is what it is. It is what it is. They can do their thing. I'll do my thing, man. Like let's say this channel randomly blew up. I would never, ever, ever go to fights with press passes. I would never do that. That's not my thing. I'd never want to interview fighters. Nothing like that. The only exception would be is if a fighter hit me up, then maybe I would interview them. But I'm not interested in. I'm not a journalist. I'm just a twat with a YouTube channel who happens to be a boxing fan, and I talk my talk. That's it. That's all there is to it. I'm not about that interviewing sort of stuff. That's not me, man. That's not me. Never rule it out. But a fighter would have to kind of hit me up and build a relationship, and then maybe. But yeah, and chances are you'll never see an interview on this channel. I'll tell you that. Oh, Jesus. There's a few burner accounts in the chat. Jesus. Yeah, Duck, 100% agree. Did you know in Morecambe, Fury grew up with Buster Rhymes? Buster Rhymes grew up there. Interesting fact. I was shocked. That's a great comment. Johnny Boy, he's murdered 8 relationships. Big up to Johnny Boy. Check out Johnny Boy's channel, man. Salute to Johnny. Salute, man. Salute. Best channels don't push narratives. Exactly, man. Exactly. I try and avoid that sort of thing on this channel. I try and keep it boxing to the best of my ability. Sometimes you get frustrated with what you see going on in the community, but I try not to bite when I see that sort of stuff. I try not to bite. Thank you, Tone. Thank you very much. Yeah, a lot of these journos and pundits, man, how they got these jobs, I've got no idea. Fantasy fight, Johnny Boy versus Bruce Wayne. Who wins? I've got Johnny Boy by knockout. KO. Head clatters off the fucking pavement, man. Johnny Boy by knockout. Big up H Money. Check out H Money as well, by the way. He's got a channel. I'm not sure whether I mentioned that, but H Money's got a channel, man. Check out H Money. Fury's life is very interesting. Didn't know his marriage to Paris was arranged. I never knew that either. William LDBC, BFTB exposed Johnny Boy. Man, BFTB needs to worry about getting some platforms in his shoes, man. In all honesty. That dude is just mad, honestly. He's crazy. Keith Be Real. Sorry, BG London, he says to Keith Be Real, Dubois probably won't get respect as a champion. Tyson will be godlike. Interesting. Oh, MB. Big up to MB, man. He says, who's going to have a best 2021? These are welterweights. Rabbi Gyasov or Yelusanov, who's going to have the best 2021? I'm not sure. Gyasov, when he turned pro, kind of looked a bit ropey to me. He got hurt against Emmanuel Taylor, but he came back and knocked out Darlis Perez in a round. So his last performance was really good. Yelusanov, he started as a pro and, in my opinion, wasn't impressive. But the last couple of fights, I've been more impressed with Yelusanov. As for Rabbi, I know who Rabbi is. I've seen him a couple of times, but I've not seen enough. So I'm not sure MB who's going to have the best 2021. I might say Gyasov, to be honest. I might say Gyasov. The Bronze Plumber, he says BFTB couldn't expose a naturalist. Yeah, exactly. J-Rock versus Harrison would be a damn good fight. Nathan, I agree. That's a very good fight. Both guys are kind of fun to watch. Neither guy has the greatest punch resistance. Both guys can box. They can do a bit of everything. So I agree. I think that'd be a great fight. Yeah, Yelusinov was a great amateur. H Money. He was a great amateur, gold medalist, very good boxer in the amateurs. As a pro, I think his first few fights he looked a bit ropey, but I think he's coming on. now. He's coming on strong. Matt, he says he feels like Fury doesn't have the consistency to have a long-lasting reign at the top level. I really hope I'm proved wrong, but the lifestyle he used to lead would have to creep up on him at some point. You'd have to think so. William LDVC, who would win in a debate out of you and Fanon? Stop lying to the fans, man. Fanon, I've barely seen that guy speak, but I know he's a middle-aged man who slurps off another man being a fanboy. So I wouldn't even entertain it. In all honesty, I wouldn't even entertain it. Got no interest in talking to anybody like that at all. I expect that sort of behaviour from a 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid, personally, but it is what it is. Each to his own. Yeah, Duck, his last performance was good. Yelusinov. Yeah, he's fighting in Dongo next, isn't it? Yeah. Beasley London, are you a Ryan Garcia fan? Nah, I'm not a Ryan Garcia fan. I've got to admit, though, as a fighter, I think he's improving. Since he's moved to Eddie Reynoso, I think Ryan is getting better. He's getting better. He's a very good. He's an astute counterpuncher. Hits hard, quick, fairly big for lightweight. He's improving as a fighter, and he'll give guys problems. He's better than I first thought. I've got to be honest. When I first saw this kid, I was like, "Nah, this guy's gonna get knocked out as soon as he fights a live body. He's gonna get knocked out." He's still not fought a live body, but I'm not quite as convinced he's going to struggle as badly as I thought he was going to. But he's a solid prospect. Fannon's got more subs, man. I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a fuck. It's like fucking Little Wayne's probably sold more records than Big L, but is Little Wayne better than Big L? Get out of here, man. All that nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Del, who do you think is going to get the heavyweight title first out of all of the current prospects? That's from Muhammad Ahmad, Bruce Lee. Damn, that's a hard question. I would say Jalilov, but he's kind of still knocking about in the amateurs. He went to the pros, he got to like 7-0, and Jalilov went back to the amateurs. I would have said him, but it's hard to say when he comes back. Maybe Hrgovic. I'm not sure, personally. I'm not sure. Adam Scott, he's expecting Brook versus Smith this year. It's a great fight. Yeah, I like that fight. I think Smith actually is a hard fight for Brook now, personally. I think it's a hard fight for Brook. Yeah, Duck agrees. He says Hrgovic. Do you think the MB? Do you think the promoters might face problems bringing over foreign opponents now without getting tested? More domestic fights as a result. That's a good point. Because even when the like the lockdown is lifted and we go back to normal life, there still may be sort of travel restrictions and things like that. That could affect certain fights, no doubt. It could mean more domestic fights. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Del, who is the best prospect in Europe across all weight divisions that you believe could be a future pound for pound fighter? Who is unknown? Melakuziev at super middleweight is a very good prospect. He's a guy to really watch out for. Great style to watch. Outstanding footwork, body puncher, hand speed, power, great combinations. Melakuziev at super middleweight is one. And I would also say Israel Madrimov is another guy. He's another guy at 154 who I rate highly. Akhmadaliev, I know he's a champion now, but he's 7-0, already a unified champion. There's guys out there, man. There's guys out there. I've lost where I was. Yeah, okay. Bronze Plumber. DDD gets the belt when Joshua defends against him in 2022. Damn, you got DDD over Joshua. Damn. All these little burner accounts, man. All these little burner accounts. It's guaranteed it's the same dude. The same dude. Fucking faggots, man. Faggots. Let's get rid of these dudes, man. I've given them too much time. Give them too much time. See, I don't time people out like willy-nilly, man. I let people talk their shit. They can talk what they want, but at least have your fucking main account. Whoever it is, man, just talk from your main account. You fucking mongrel. Jesus. Yeah, Hrgovic is high risk, low reward, 100%. Yeah, Dominic, he's enjoying isolation. I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing okay. I'm being positive, exercising, things like that. But yeah, just getting through it, man. Just getting through it. What can you do, man? What can you do? Yeah, Madrimov's he's got great ability. He's got a great style to watch, man. He's got a beautiful style to watch. Hits hard as well, man. Hits hard, comes in at angles. Just a unique fighter. Very unique fighter. No doubt, man. Very unique fighter. Yo, Corruption in Boxing. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, I've got a few more heavyweight prospect videos I need to do. There's a few guys out there. There's a French dude called Raphael Truchet. I think that's how you say his name. He's the guy I want to cover. David Adelaide from the UK is another one. There's a few prospects out there who I'm looking at. Why am I such a fraud, man? Bro, just show me the real account, man. If people are going to talk shit, man, I'm all for it. But use your real account, man. Use your real account. Duck, he says, I think it was Duck. He says Tony Yoka's being overlooked. Tony Yoka is certainly a good prospect. I rate him. I do rate him highly. Bend over. Hilarious. Hilarious. See you later, Russell, man. See you later. Yeah, Dominic, that's true. I think if Wilder loses again, America's in a bad position in the heavyweight division because in terms of prospects, there's no one really coming up right now who's super exciting. I think the best US prospect is Jared Anderson, who's 3-0. He's still got a long way to go. And I'm not completely sold on Jared Anderson, but I think he's the best of what they have to offer in terms of prospects. Other than Wilder at world level, who's really knocking around? Jarrell Miller, good fighter, but I can't see that guy taking over the division. Charles Martin, absolutely not. Dominic Brazil, nah. I can't see where America are going to stand in the division. I don't think they're going to be a big powerhouse in a couple of years' time. I can't see it. I really can't. 4-7, he says Josh Kelly wishes he was Israel Madrimov. Yeah, exactly, 4-7. Exactly. Gloves Up Boxing, big up to you. Nigel Thornberry. I like that name. I like that name. Stop lying to the fans. You were LDBC before. Yeah, okay, mate. Okay. Bro, get creative, man. Come on. Get creative. Yeah, Frank Sanchez, he's like 50 years old already. That guy is apparently 28 years old. But if that guy's 28 years old, he's had a hard fucking paper round. He's had a hard life because he looks ancient. He looks ancient. Jesus. What am I missing more? Football or boxing? Definitely boxing. Definitely boxing. H Money, he says, we haven't had a great American heavyweight since Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe, and Evander Holyfield. Yeah, man. They were great fighters. I used to love. I wasn't around at the time, but I love going back and watching Riddick Bowe in particular. I loved his style of fighting. For a big dude, man, that guy could fight on the inside. He really could. Evander Holyfield is my favorite heavyweight of all time. So I've got a lot of time for Evander. And obviously Mike Tyson. Who doesn't like watching Mike Tyson? They were all great fighters, man. Great fighters. Yeah, Nathan, that's a good shout for Frank Sanchez. Guys like Sergey Kuzmin or Christian Hammer. That'll be good tests for Frank Sanchez. Dominic Chechery, do you play any games? I do have an Xbox. I occasionally play it. I'm playing a bit of Call of Duty right now, Warzone. I'm playing a bit of that. That's kind of fun, but I don't really play too often, to be honest. I don't really play too often. Once every couple of days, every 3 days, sort of thing. But yeah, I play a bit. Yeah, Frank Sanchez had a good amateur background. BG London. He had a very good amateur background. Yeah, Matt. Tony Yoka's beatdown of Dave Allen was very one-sided, man. Very one-sided. And it wasn't like it was the fact that he was just connecting over and over and over again, man. So many times Dave Allen got hit in that fight. The worst thing is Tony Yoka's not a big enough puncher to lay you out. And obviously Dave Allen has a good chin, so he just kept on taking those shots. That causes a lot of damage, man, taking those shots over and over. Yeah, Dominic Chechery, I can't get a win on Warzone either, man. I can't. Oh, dear. When's the Q&A drop in? Probably Tuesday, I want to say. Probably Tuesday. The Bronze Plumber, 20-0 heavyweight prospect, Jermaine Franklin. I don't rate Jermaine Franklin, Bronze Plumber. I thought he lost to Jerry Forrest. I don't think Jermaine Franklin's all that good. Sonny Konto, he looks all right. But Jared Anderson's the guy I think is the real prospect out of a lot of them. Shelton Benjamin, Gwyneth Paltrow. We've got Gwyneth Paltrow in the chat, man. Gwyneth Paltrow, big up to you. Send some nudes, man. Send some nudes, Gwyneth. After his performance against Povetkin, I think Hunter could possibly be the next best American heavyweight prospect. Hunter is a guy, I forgot to mention Hunter. I got a lot of respect for Michael Hunter. That dude will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. Anytime. No training camp needed. That guy's always in shape. He's always ready to fight. I like Michael Hunter. He's a good fighter, man. I keep on forgetting about Hunter for some reason. I like Michael Hunter. Very good fighter. Very good fighter. These heavyweights are soft compared to the 90s and 80s. Yeah, a lot of people say that, man. A lot of people say that. Hunter beat Povetkin in BG London's opinion. I agree with you, BG London. I had Michael Hunter winning 7-5. It was a close fight. I've got no problem with a draw, but I don't see Povetkin winning that fight personally. A draw I can see, but yeah, I think Hunter probably won that. I agree, Duck. I agree. I think Hunter could be a consistent top 10 heavyweight. I want to see Hunter versus Parker. Yeah, as Nathan said, he said it too. Hunter versus Parker. I think that'd be a good boxing match. Two guys with some of the quickest hands in the division. Two good boxers. That'd be interesting. Hunter versus Parker. Interesting fight. And, you know, Hunter's got a pretty good chin as well. He's got a pretty good chin for a smaller guy. Hunter wants smoke with Dillian White. Bro, I think Michael Hunter would be an exceptionally hard fight for Dillian White. I really do. I think that's a very hard fight for Dillian. That's an interesting fight. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I would much rather see Dillian White versus Michael Hunter in comparison to White versus Povetkin. Not that I don't dislike White Povetkin, but I would prefer Hunter White, to be honest. Thoughts on Martin Bakole? How would you match him? I think Martin Bakole is a solid heavyweight. He's got some nice attributes. Throws a lot of punches. Big dude. Hits hard. Good punch variety as well. Offensively quite gifted. I would like to see him fight Filip Hrgović. That fight was talked about. That'd be a good fight. But if I'm trying to build up Martin Bakole, who would I put him in there with? That's winnable. I don't know, really, man. Maybe someone like Christian Hammer. Someone like that. Copend09, Dillian's chin might be ready to go permanently. Yeah, man. Feels like he's getting hurt a bit more these days. He got hurt by Chisora in that second fight. He got hurt by Oscar Rivas. Got hurt by Parker. He's been hurt in a few fights. Hurt by Helenius as well. Chris Waddle, he says Hunter's going to be a gatekeeper. I think he's going to be a bit better than a gatekeeper. I think he's going to be bottom level, sort of top 10, like maybe 9 or 10 in the division. That sort of fighter. Dominic Chechery, he thinks Samuel Peters a good prospect. Oh dear. Man, do you know what, guys? I've really enjoyed this one, actually. Really enjoyed this stream, just talking to you guys. When we stream, I usually have people on, and that kind of distracts me from the chat, but I really enjoyed answering your guys' questions. But I am going to wrap this one up, to be honest. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys could smash the like on the way out, be much appreciated. And yeah, man, hopefully you guys stay safe. Hopefully you've had a good Easter. Peace.